Atheist Nomads, episode 313, The White Elephant in Chief.
The podcast you're about to listen to includes cursing and talking about hoo-haws. Please be advised.
Welcome to another episode of Atheist Nomads. I am Dustin. Joining me is Lauren.
Hoo-ha!
And Aaron.
For the fourth time, hi.
And Jason.
Hello, I'm Jason.
And Liz.
I think I'm still here.
Yeah, you're actually here this time.
Out-of-body experience.
Okay, so this weekend has not gone according to plan.
Not in one single
at all.
way.
Yeah, nothing has gone according to plan. So we now have 5 people on mic, and I actually am now recording all 5 mics.
Right.
So, yes.
I welcome the distraction.
And not going to plan, I'm surprised that Dustin's head did not explode this
I
weekend.
know. That's true.
Yeah, you're rolling with it real nice, man.
Yeah, good job, Dustin.
We were planning on recording Monday instead of Sunday.
Let's just say we talked a lot on that drive.
Oh, I bet.
It was 6
That helped.
hours.
You should have recorded it.
We were we were going to be going camping.
Than recording.
We were planning on going camping, and we get to about 20
to the beautiful
miles.
Sawtooths.
Yeah, we're about 20 miles away when all the cars in front of us are stopped, and then they all pull off the road. So we pull off the road too, and then there's a
That's a way to go and get your car off a cliff.
Then there's a black SUV that is.
Let me follow
It's
that
a white
car.
spot right there. Black SUV's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
along
with the blinky light.
telling everybody road's closed.
Turn around.
Road's closed because there was a fire that had literally just jumped the highway.
You can't be here.
Yeah.
Turn yourself
Brand new
around.
fire. It had started Friday afternoon, and
And it crossed the road just as we got there.
How do you think it started? Do you think it was a campfire? Do you think it was a cigarette?
I think
Do
it
you
was
off-roading.
I think it was off the road. No, because it jumped the road.
No, I know, but like
It was coming down the mountain.
right.
It may have been lightning.
Has there
At
been
noon?
storms?
Yeah.
around noon.
I don't want to say it was human caused, probably. 'Cause
Well,
I haven't-
80% chance that it was human caused.
Yeah.
Well, the
that's-
real question is, why did the fire cross the road?
to get more fuel.
to try to ruin Dustin's weekend.
to
Knew
ruin-
Dustin was coming.
Okay, so we're only doing the camping weekends because our week-long vacation down the Oregon coast wasn't relaxing enough for him. It was too much work. So he's like, I just need to set up camp and have a beer and maybe do some fishing and just be left alone. I'm like, okay, well, let's go to Stanley. We're like, all right.
And then
So then we want to make sure we didn't pick a alternate campsite that wasn't at high risk of getting evacuated. So by the time we got that distance away, they were all full.
right.
And it was getting very, very dark. So we went ahead and just drove the rest of the way home. And
then had some therapy time. Sounds like it was good for you.
Yeah. We talked about our insecurities.
Well, you know what? This
I think I'm the guy from Flowers for Algernon.
I don't know what that means.
You
but
feel
okay.
like you got really intelligent and now you're losing it?
Yeah, basically.
Oh,
That, if you don't practice what you learn, then you kind of lose it. And from high school to now, I feel like I've lost a lot of my intellectual abilities.
really
That's being a
because-
parent.
Yeah.
There's that.
Yeah.
I feel like you picked up a lot of stuff.
Will I get
though.
it back when I start having to teach her new math?
Yeah.
Yes.
I was trying to subtract 11 from 45 the other day, and I couldn't do it. I was like, what is wrong with me?
I don't think that's
34.
a parent thing. I think that's a whatever thing.
I've
when
had
you're
a
stressed
mental-
out because I do that all the time.
Yeah, that's true. But
I try to be empathetic on
I
this.
talked it out. It's an insecurity I have.
Yeah.
It's not realistic. It's not.
Well, most of
Anything
your insecurities aren't realistic, right?
Most of them aren't.
And we talked through some of my issues, which involve some of just the stresses of being
joking.
the inherent stresses of being new parents, as well as the fact that I work for an organization that I honestly believe to be evil.
Evil.
Evil Eagle is your production company, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm not a bird. But
Yeah.
A commentary on America. Evil Eagle.
Right.
Speaking, and because I said that, I do need to say that these statements do not in any way reflect the opinions or views of my employer, which
If
I
you
will
ever-
not name.
Right.
They do
They're
not
fast.
think they are evil.
They reflect the opinions of my employer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
My
anyway.
one true employer.
God.
Ew.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah. So there's been
There's been a lot
And
happening.
then he tried to
lot of
load a
news.
new Linux system, and that was just like.
I figured out. I think I'm
Although
pretty
that
sure
was fun for you, I think.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
You
That was
know,
the fun-
there's like 1 week left. I'm not into this stuff, but my friend is. But there's like 1 week left of Mercury retrograde.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it fits.
We
Right.
talked about that last. Oh my God!
Did we talk about it?
that last week? We mentioned it. How funny it was that it correlated with the gems and the zodiac.
Right. Yeah. Because that's why I'm blaming all my bad
Juju.
things that's been happening, and I'm like, yeah, it's totally up to the moon.
Because it's totally not karma, right?
Right? Or karma? Yeah, what bad things have I been doing lately to get so much shit?
Do we have enough time?
See? And that's my irrational fear. Thanks for digging into my insecurity, Jason.
Wait.
Dude, we're dealing with
take the punches,
insecurities,
Aaron.
Man, that's the
That's
whole
all
thing.
right.
we are
I
too.
mean, everybody
Actually,
knows.
we talked about a lot of our insecurities last night too. So it's the
Yeah.
season.
Tis
Hey,
the season
do you know, listeners out there, do you know how alone you feel when you're surrounded by two couples? And then you're just sitting here.
and bring it back to yourself, Aaron.
For sure.
Bring it back
But
to your
Aaron-
own drama.
I'm an
You-
egomaniac. It's
Look,
true.
Aaron, you have a wonderful relationship with your therapist. Don't lose sight of that.
and a beautiful bracelet.
I don't know about that. I mean, she has told me she's intuitive on 2 separate occasions and like described what I would be wearing and what the person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life looks like. So I don't know how good this is. I mean, our relationship is weird.
Was
She's
she
good
looking
at trauma
a picture
therapy.
of Magnum PI?
Oh, I wish. Like Burt Reynolds' chest.
The hairy?
Yes, I love
Super,
hair.
like-
I don't like back hair per se, but I've dated someone with back hair. But the chest carpet, it's something so soothing when you can just run your fingers through it.
There is a little bit of that on Dustin. I get that.
I had a friend who I went swimming with one time, and I helped him apply sunscreen, and he's hairy on the front and the back,
Yeah.
and.
No, I don't know. But the front, like when you're laying in bed and you're just talking
What?
and you're
Are you
laughing.
freaking baby skinned over there?
Yeah, he definitely is.
I don't have chest hair.
Very metro.
Thanks, biology, for that.
Hormone
I mean,
imbalance.
yeah.
Hormone imbalance. Sorry, I've got neck to navel alopecia.
I mean, I
Hold on,
don't
I
like
think there's an
touching.
ICD-9 code for that.
Here's the thing. It's not like I would be like, yeah, let me touch this very sweaty back hair right now. It's like when it's just comforting. It's like a rug in bed.
It's a pet.
that talks
It's
to
something
you.
you can pet.
Exactly. It's a pet.
Just soothe.
It's like a teddy bear, but on like a dude's back.
Or kind of like an otter.
Oh, yeah.
But
Except an otter
can he
wouldn't be
break
in there.
clams on his belly in bed?
Oh,
Oh,
the person
fuck,
I'm
that
going to
sounds
marry.
good.
Abs?
The person that I am marrying better be able to use tools to break clams on his belly. That's going to be
Use basic tools.
Right.
One
Use
time I
basic
couldn't get a
tools.
can open and we had to use a screwdriver.
Oh my God, I'd be
it
in
was
love.
terrible.
So,
SpaghettiOs were everywhere.
I wonder if that's in the intuitive thing. Like, I would fall in love immediately.
I went to my therapist and after 3 times she says, well, you're cured.
Shut up. Oh my
She dismissed
God.
me. I'm like,
Wow.
okay.
Without talking about really anything.
The reason why
Yeah.
I went in
Yeah.
there, my deeply seated guilt issues, I don't think
Right.
we even mentioned beyond that first day.
Oh my
And by the
gosh.
3rd day, she's like, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and discharge you. I'm like, okay,
What a
bye.
Bad therapist.
She was
Oh.
Swedish. Maybe they do things differently.
Maybe.
The white elephant in chief is in the news again
Shocking.
for stuff relevant to our show.
Okay,
What?
here we go.
So,
I wish I had an elephant sound.
first off,
Soundboard.
I look for
Yes.
Thank you.
Every time we say Trump, do that.
I looked for the cable I needed and I didn't find it, but found several other things I was looking for. So
As a father of a toddler, you need to learn how to make that noise. Because E is for elephant is everywhere.
I sometimes can.
Oh, he's doing the arm trunk. Very nice.
All right, so Trump finally went too goddamn far for some Christians.
Oh my God, how did he do that?
Because he said, God damn.
twice
Damn.
at a rally.
Oh.
And
At a fairly racist rally. Wasn't it a white supremacy kind of?
Basically. And, the issue wasn't the fact that he was calling for Representative Omar to return to Somalia.
Oh,
The problem was he took the Lord's name in vain.
Right.
Gosh
well,
darn.
no, they're not going to. They think the same way he does. Yes. Oh, you don't look like us. You must go back to your country. Which everyone that he called out but one, right, was actually born here.
Yeah, the one from Somalia was the only one who was not born in the U.S. but was a U.S. They were also U.S. citizens and had the right to be representatives here. But they were brown women, so they should go back to where they came from. Like,
but he
Michigan?
said, "God damn," and people got pissed.
God damn it!
Yep. They don't care about racism. They don't care about children in concentration camps. Just the fact that he took the Lord's name in vain.
Right. They don't care that he sexually assaulted women.
Oh, yeah. No, they're totally fine with that.
Actually, I have seen those clips where they're like, it was the past of the past. Whatever.
Nobody's perfect.
Right. That's exactly what they say. Well, everybody's got a pass. It's done now.
Po buddy's nerfect.
And we also got Peter Warner, a Republican political advisor who served in both the Reagan and George W. Bush administrations. He's been very critical of Trump for some time, and he went on CNN this weekend to criticize his fellow evangelicals for their continued support of him.
Cool.
He is like, what is wrong with you people?
So among the things he said, there was, the bottom line is that he will fight for them. Not that he himself is of Christian faith, not even he himself is a manifestation of Christian values, but they feel like they're involved in an existential struggle against a malicious enemy that they consider to be the American left, and Trump will try and vanquish that enemy.
Even though he was a part of it 10 years ago.
Yeah, when he was like, I'll probably run as a Democrat.
Yeah.
He also said they feel like he'll bring a gun to a cultural knife fight, that he hates the same people they hate.
That's what it is, right
and that
there.
he'll employ means to get it done.
Look, I get it. Like, I've connected with people at parties who hate the same person that I hate.
Yeah.
But I get it. But it's like, I don't hate that person because of, like, dumb reasons. I have very smart reasons.
Right. But it wouldn't be like, you wouldn't threaten them.
Well, and I have to rein myself back sometimes when I say I freaking hate Republicans. I don't. I think most Republicans are very intelligent, lovely people that we actually probably agree on 90% ideally.
Yeah.
And stuff, but
it's like what David Cross said. I don't think that every Republican is a racist homophobe. Just the people they elect into office.
Yeah. Basically, rapists. Basically, everything that they try to defend, I imagine that particular person is very guilty of. So if people come forward and say, "Oh yeah, no, Trump, that was his past," he's
like, "Oh no, we're going after
women
that
can
shit
just
now?"
shut it down." And I'm like, "Holy shit, you've raped somebody, haven't you?"
Hey, who hasn't grabbed a pussy?
Right.
I did it in my
Just boys
fraternity
being boys.
hundreds of times.
Consensually.
And one of the other lines from Warner was, I think a lot of these white evangelical leaders are doing more to hurt Christianity than the so-called new atheists ever could.
Whoa, what a revelation. What's a new atheist?
That gets into a whole, is that
what
post
wave
Dawkins
are
or is that
Dawkins?
What wave?
What wave? Are we in third wave?
We are at this point in post new atheism.
Yeah, because
new atheism was the Four Horsemen and their books, and
Aaron's lost.
That's
so
like
we do.
Dawkins, Hitchens.
Dennett, Hitchens, and Harris.
Yeah.
Let's talk about feminism.
I was going to say Dawkins,
Hey, I took
Harris,
that one gender study class. Should we talk about that?
Hitchens, and the guy that nobody can ever remember.
Right. Okay.
They all wrote
First
books in the
wave.
90s, 2000s that people were like, oh, yes, atheism is amazing.
2004 to 2008 was when those books
Correction,
were all published.
Lauren.
Right.
So
Okay.
it was defined
Yeah.
as a very specific thing with those books.
It got people really
And-
riled up about being an atheist and being proud of it, and then all those men ended up being kind of douchey.
Except for Dennett, he's still cool.
The one that nobody remembers.
Well, what a crazy thing.
But
misogynist.
New atheism is also just a thing
bit.
that the media loves to, mostly over it now, but at least 5-6 years ago, loved pointing to this whole atheism movement as all being tied to these 4 people and viewing them as the leaders or even prophets of the movement, which no, that wasn't ever the case. They just happened to write books at the same time that
parallel thinking.
The internet was
false. False. I actually dated somebody who was very much a part of the new atheist movement.
He's like, I dated Christopher Hitchens.
He worshipped Dawkins.
Yeah, there definitely were. There were people who became atheists and then they read Dawkins' book and were like, yes, Dawkins is awesome. Yeah, but
that happened.
So yeah.
I don't. If you ever, so what was the one about biology?
Was that the selfish gene?
Greatest Show on Earth?
Greatest Show on Earth. If you ever want to listen to an audiobook, his Greatest Show on Earth is a really fun one. Talks about evolution and how it's more biology than atheism, but it's good.
But in the context this guy was using of the so-called new atheists, that probably is specifically referring to Dawkins, Dennett, Harris, and Hitchens, saying that evangelical leaders now are doing more damage to Christianity than they did. By backing
I just call
Trump.
It free thinking. Whatever you believe, you believe. I mean, obviously, some other things.
I actually think that the biggest problem that atheism has now is being balancing secularism with anti-religion.
Yeah.
Is a hard thing to do because if you're a humanist, you can't really be anti-religion because then you're condemning a whole lot of people.
Right.
I mean, we discussed that with the French government.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can push it too far and just be anti-Islamic. And yeah, we all agree that it's crazy and dangerous, but why are you punishing the victims?
I know. We'll get into that later because I have something to say about that again.
I thought we were going to... Okay, yeah.
All right.
Well, no, I mean... You can cut this out, obviously, but there's another comment about it, which I'm like, oh
yes,
great.
Okay. Oh, excellent.
Yay.
We love comments.
We do love comics, but also it's like,
chill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Shut
chill
the
out.
fuck up.
Just chill.
So, but this is nice to see evangelicals, because what we've seen for the most part so far has been evangelicals using their influence in that demographic to push support for Trump and to chastise people who don't support Trump. And to see...
Like you can't be a good church member if you don't vote for Trump or don't support him in 2020.
And now that tide is starting to turn, and that's...
Especially after she said,
that's kind of nice.
Goddamn. Well,
like what?
shit.
What did he say?
He said goddamn twice.
I know he said the words goddamn, but I'm like asking for the context.
I don't know. Does it really matter?
Well,
Give me 5 seconds.
I'm like, sure. The question I just asked doesn't matter. Thanks for
No,
minimizing my
I know.
contribution.
No, I get what you're saying.
Now
but
interrupt me
Okay,
too.
so
Silence me completely.
welcome to being a woman.
I like being a woman.
All right, then.
So
deal
after
with it.
shouting, send her back over and over.
Oh my God.
Or at least the crowd was shouting that while he was encouraging it. He said, "You are going to support me because you're a rich guy, and you don't. If you don't support me, you are going to be so goddamn poor."
What?
So he's saying everybody who supports me is going to be rich,
Yep.
and anybody who doesn't support me is going to be poor.
Yep.
Goddamn poor.
That sounds like
Goddamn
a
poor.
clearly drawn conclusion.
Right. Because there's a lot of his supporters
guess-
who are not rich. What's going to happen? What's going to happen when he doesn't fulfill that promise?
Because that kind of sounds like wealth redistribution to
Right.
people who vote for him.
Socialism.
It's
No, they think they're just going to end up being successful.
Right. They're going to be like, this is a bootstrap story, and he's going to help me get there.
I'm gonna work real hard with my daddy's $1 million too.
billion.
Ugh.
Billions and billions. I thought he was saying that he is supported by rich people.
Well, of course. Yeah, because they don't like to be taxed. So, of course.
Tax is theft. Well, okay, then so refuse the redistribution and stop driving on my roads.
So I don't have the this article doesn't have the other time that he said goddamn, but it does have the one quote.
Goddamn poor. Collective gasp through the crowd.
So they care about that, but not calling countries in Africa shitholes.
Yep.
Right.
And telling people to go back to their country and then putting kids in cages. And
Yep, it's hilarious.
Yep.
Oh man,
I'm expecting Doctor Who to show up any moment.
surprise!
We're in an alternate reality.
Doesn't Trump look tired?
The article that I found while I was also looking for the quote has a bunch of tweets of people. Mr. President, please do not take the Lord's name in vain. And it's spelled V-A-N-E.
In weather vane.
And then it says, God's last name is not damn.
Oh my gosh.
Well, Jesus' middle name is fucking.
Oh, yeah.
I tend to resort to Sweet Baby Jesus.
Oh, I love Sweet Baby Jesus.
Yeah, Sweet Baby Jesus.
Sweet baby Jesus and that mistletoe Christmas pie.
You know, I always refer to not wanting to
I was wondering where the line was going to be.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally actually found one.
Now,
We found
it's
it.
here. This is where the line is for these people?
Yeah.
I know.
God damn, it's words? You've got to be fucking kidding me.
Sweet
But
Baby
you're-
Jesus.
God damn.
You would think the cages.
No.
Oh, nope.
No,
No,
because
no.
that's foreigners coming in and stealing our jobs.
If that's the kind of logic that
They're
they use,
rapists.
they're thinking
That
is goddamn
3-year-old
poor.
rapists.
It is, yeah.
It is.
These are
What? Yeah. What are the things? They're rapists. They're
They're
murderers. They're
sending
drug
over
dealers.
the murderers and
yeah.
rapists.
They're bad
And
hombres.
so they decided to lock up everybody under the age of 12.
Right. Which I have been seeing things that are making good points, which will never make sense to these people. But things like, you know, everybody would be up in arms, because they usually do, if there were dogs who are being starved and not bathed and locked in cages.
Right.
We don't care about kids?
No, we do.
What if we just put like the camp footage, like with that Sarah McLachlan song playing?
Ooh, right.
no, man.
But there's no camp footage, because then that wouldn't be shining a light on all the shit that
The
they've been
difference
doing.
between these kids and animal shelters and stuff is that if you were to get video of these kids, you would be dead.
Right.
Because they're locked up in in a stronghold facility.
Yeah.
We would have to go in there like an actual revolt and take over a base in order to free these children.
And in some of these cases, it is actual military bases.
And they
So
would-
you'd have to break
the
into
U.S.
a military base.
would shoot you dead if you
Yeah.
got within 20 yards.
Well,
or
Not if
something.
we all did it.
Didn't somebody already
They
get
tried, yeah.
shot?
Somebody, what? I can't remember what he did.
Or did he just get arrested? I thought someone actually did die.
I don't
Maybe.
think
I
anybody
don't know.
died. I think he just got arrested.
Okay.
But it was kind of funny because I was seeing comments about how, I know it's a bad situation, but we shouldn't resort to violence, ... No, wait.
Right.
Yes, go after them with Molotov cocktails if you have to.
Yeah.
Bortles.
Well, and the other thing is, like, I don't know, the other argument that these people have too is like, well, their parents shouldn't have brought them here then.
Where do you think that they were running from?
Well,
And
yeah.
They're using
and
the
also-
children as a deterrent.
right.
And also, even if you follow that logic,
What? It's all backwards.
if somebody's parents are doing bad things, what the state does is take the kids away from the parents and put them in a home where someone will take care of them.
Well, I
Not-
mean, come on. The foster system's not that great either.
It's not that great, but it's not cages.
Right. But I mean, we also need to look at the foster care system a little bit better.
And
But they give the
adoption.
parents money.
Right.
They give the foster parents money.
Right.
so-
Which, always
that
attracts
fixes it.
real classy people sometimes, right?
Right.
I don't know. It's just,
It's true. Why are you punishing these kids?
there's this new thing where they're making it harder for asylum seekers because they have to try now to seek asylum in another country before they can seek asylum here.
Oh, the goal of this is actually it's the same. It's to get Mexico and Guatemala to sign the same agreement with us that we have with Canada. You cannot declare asylum on the northern border of the U.S. Because you just crossed that from Canada, and you should have requested asylum in Canada. you can't cross from the U.S. into Canada and request asylum because the U.S. is a safe country. You should have requested it there. So what this agreement would do would be to make it so that you literally cannot cross the southern border and request asylum.
Right. That's what I'm saying. I mean, they're trying to...
Just not allowed at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
Guatemala signed, right?
It's held up in court right now.
Oh, yeah. If you're from Guatemala because, your village has been burned and drug lords have raped your family, and you come to the U.S., the U.S. says, well, Guatemala's safe. You don't have to...
Well, theoretically...
You shouldn't have to...
Theoretically, they're supposed to go to another country around Guatemala and seek asylum there.
A bordering country.
Uh-huh.
But even though Mexico is saying they won't sign...
Good.
Because Guatemala has... If you're traveling by land and you cross through Guatemala on your way to Mexico, and then you come to the U.S. border, they can say no. You should have requested asylum in Guatemala.
Already saying, which I find they're already saying no. They're already saying no. I mean, this is what the whole thing is. This is why the children and the parents are in concentration camps, because they're already saying no. This is just an extra added layer of bullshit.
And we will actually be getting back to some of the reasons why it's happening later. All right, so we're going to take a overdue break.
Yes, please.
Peace out, atheists.
Amazon pulled books by Dr. Joseph Nicolosi from their store, and conservatives are pissed.
Why?
Nicolosi, who died several years ago, was a psychiatrist, a Catholic, and the founder of reparative therapy, which is more commonly known as gay conversion therapy.
So he wrote the how-to manual and Amazon removed the book?
Finally.
Yeah, now people are pissed.
Finally removed the book.
Wow. Well, yeah.
Then boycott Amazon. I'm sure they won't really give a shit.
They really won't, because they'll make it up somewhere else. Do you use the internet? Amazon's making money off of you.
Yeah. You shop at Whole Foods? Amazon. Listen, actually, I got cheap groceries the other day from using Prime and Whole Foods. And I get it. Amazon has been told dicks to their employees, but...
Yeah.
It's hard.
Everything is so hard these days. White people problems.
Oh, really? I know.
First
We're
world
total
problems.
hypocrites. We have Amazon Prime, too. It's
Right. Yeah, but
first
like
world
we're
white
not
people
making
problems.
wages that make it so that we can choose to spend our dollars at places that are ethical. Like I used to not shop at Walmart, and then in the last 6 years,
and
it
then
was
you
like,
got Poe.
oh, and then it was like, oh, cool, this same exact block of cheese is $2 cheaper at Walmart than it is at Fred Meyer. I'm
Right.
really sorry. I need that
Now-
$2.
Yeah.
We do have Winco as an option for...
Which is
Yeah,
nice.
but there's another... I mean, Winco's great to their employees.
Uh-huh.
That's because they own
And
the
Winco
company.
can be cheap, but then Winco also doesn't carry everything sometimes that you want. So
Because Winco's goal is to be cheap.
right. So then you go to Walmart because you're like, yay, it's the brand I really like.
It's all connected, man. Time is a flat circle.
Let's all get high and talk about conspiracy theories.
Oh,
now.
I love that.
Oh,
Wait,
shit,
Jason, you
get-
think it's a flat circle?
Oh my God,
It's a
yes.
sphere.
Let's talk about ticks.
It's a sphere.
Ticks.
I'm just quoting
I
True
just found a
Detective.
tick. We have earlier today. It was a big old fat one.
Do you think the government planted it there for you?
Possibly. Did you put that one article in the?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Super ticks.
So the way that Dustin explained this to me is that there's this crazy guy who's like conspiracy theories up the wazoo.
Okay,
Because like
yeah.
the government's been using
Who's in Congress?
who was
this-
in Congress, got elected, who
Is
thinks
his name John? Does he not like Wheaties? I mean, does he really love Wheaties?
Oh, you're talking about, okay.
she's making an inside joke that
Yeah.
none of us understand.
I
Hooray!
know.
Mark!
Yeah.
No, he's a congressman who said that the government was using ticks as biological weapons, and everybody's like, okay.
That's some Hunger Games shit.
You want to take your aluminum hat off, please, while we're in session? And so somehow, one way or another, they actually managed to look into it and found it was true. They were planning on using ticks as biological weapons.
Wait, what?
The U.S. government.
During the Cold War, the government looked at everything for
During the
weapons.
Cold War.
But
Yeah.
that one in particular is just like,
Yeah.
Again, that seems like a Hunger Game thing.
I'm going to be the unpopular person here to be like, doesn't sound totally insane to me.
No.
it does not sound totally insane. What's
Yeah,
funny,
because at the
though,
Cold
is-
War, yeah, I would totally agree with their, like, let's think of anything and everything we could
Ticks
do.
as a
The gay
biological
bomb?
weapons delivery system. How is that worse than spraying it from a plane
Or loading it
Cheaper.
into mosquitoes.
Well, we wouldn't
Mosquitoes.
know. I mean, it seems like if they were, planes are going over and like I'm dying now.
Because things like tick collars don't exist.
Right.
Those
right.
chemtrails, man.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Or those trucks at night that just missed.
Or them Tuskegee experiments.
those are freaky.
all right, so Fanny,
Liz just got the shivers.
No, some of those agricultural trucks really are kind of scary
Yeah,
looking.
they are.
most
look
of them are pretty scary looking.
Yeah.
when you really think about it.
Oh, God.
My mom still remembers having her window open and breathing that shit in.
Ooh.
God damn.
And I feel
In
like
Iowa.
I feel like they had like a green light too attached to that. I don't know.
There's
if that's
something.
really
There's
true.
Oh.
spotlights.
Okay, if you drive through farm country at night,
Yeah.
shit gets weird.
Yeah, it
Like
does.
the
It's
weird
eerie.
lights you see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it's like down in the southern swamps where they have like swamp lights and stuff. But farmlands have their own
But,
kind of
like
creepy
gators.
things.
Around Christmas Valley, you come over a hill, go around a corner, and then it's just all these weird lights that don't seem like they could possibly be
Anything.
humans doing anything when
Right.
it's just some farm.
Right.
And
It's
of
like
course,
I don't want coyotes on
driving around there at night, you also end up the whole drive is basically thump 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 as you run over jackrabbit after jackrabbit after jackrabbit.
and then
Those
they
lights.
scream.
Yeah.
That's right. What did we determine that? Was that like a little RV settlement or
We
was
never
it solar?
figured it.
We never figured out.
It was
No.
UFOs.
We've driven by there in the daylight and there's like nothing there.
Aliens for
unidentified-
sure.
Maybe they just
lights.
come in at night. Maybe like they do their work and then they
They
come
weren't
together at
lights
night, like a
that you
caravan
could see from. They were more like lights to
markers.
show you that something's there,
Oh.
but you couldn't see what was there.
Interesting.
Dun, dun,
I'm guessing it was some big combines and tractors and the
Yeah.
like, but we don't know.
Yeah.
You saw a
Aliens.
green light?
Green and blue?
It was green,
Were they
blue.
blinking? Some of them were blinking.
I think
Yeah.
that green light is a metaphor for the
I mean,
American
wasn't there a
dream.
UFO?
Yeah.
Didn't people?
Okay, so there are people outside of the U.S. that
Blink.
also have that same dream.
About what?
We're going to talk about Fanny and Rembertus Biraput. These are siblings who identify as missionaries in Tasmania. They
I
were
like how you say they identify as like
Yes.
it's a
They identify as siblings? Are we talking
no,
incest?
they are
or what?
they are
Oh, okay.
siblings. So
They have
they
a channel on YouPorn.
they were born
It's really popular right now.
they were born in the Netherlands, and their family moved to Australia because they thought it was beautiful.
Tasmania.
And then they relocated to Tasmania from the main Australian landmass. And
from the Australian landmass, not the main. Tasmanians are very
okay, sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to hear this comment.
So
Yeah, I don't want them calling into the voice line being like,
So anyway, no one is sure what kind of Christian they are, at least according to this
Okay.
article.
Okay.
But they run their family's honey farm and a store. Rembertus handles most of the agricultural work, while Fanny does the more feminine tasks like running the store,
Cute.
along with their mom. Their dad
You mean
passed away a
she's a
few years
business
ago.
person, like any good woman is, best at business.
So
sexist.
Women's work. Making
on
them money.
their farm's website, they do have some religious materials, but it's just like information about what the Bible says about astronomy and the like.
Nothing.
bees.
So what Fanny then told the court was that her sole occupation is to serve the Lord. She identified herself, or her and her brother, as missionaries, not as farmers or merchants.
Or beekeepers.
And they told the Tasmanian Supreme Court that Australian tax laws are against the will of God, which is why they stopped paying all of their taxes in 2011.
God. We have a lot of those here in the U.S. too.
Yep.
They're called rich people, and they get away
No,
with
there's
it.
a lot of poor people who just straight up don't pay anymore because they're like, not my country.
I would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for you pesky Bernie Sanders fans.
So included in this judgment against them, the judge pointed out that they failed to provide any biblical justification for their position.
Ooh.
And since there wasn't even a starting point for their defense, he had no difficulty coming to the conclusion that they need to pay $2.3 million in back taxes, administrative costs, and interest.
Oh shit.
And they're probably like, we don't have that.
Start a GoFundMe.
They've been running a successful honey business, and they're using religion as an excuse to not pay taxes.
I hear what you're saying, but I'm sure they also don't have that money right now.
Right, yeah.
That's all right. They just won't have any money for the next 10 years either as they pay it all back.
Because they're going to be garnished. It's all going to be taken
They're
away.
Self-employed. There's no garnishing. They're just going to, if they don't pay,
straight up lose their money.
They'll lose the farm.
Well, then they'll start another one. She was successful the first time.
Right. Declare bankruptcy. That's done. Start up a new business.
And then pay your taxes this time, dummies.
There's so many people who just straight up, they don't pay their car insurance because they just don't want to. They don't.
Well, hey, I'm going to play devil's advocate on this one.
It's real expensive.
It is real expensive. And there have been times where I have not been, thank God Christine doesn't listen to this. I haven't paid our power bill in 2 months.
Oh, that's me every 2 months.
And it's not that I don't want to pay it. It's just that I'm freaking poor right now. Right. And luckily now I have my car insurance pulled out of my account, so I have no choice but to have that amount in there. But it's still, there are things sometimes that people have to be like, do I want to have food this month, or should I pay for this car insurance that, maybe this month? And I'm a very good driver.
Now,
good driver doesn't mean anything though when it comes to insurance issues.
I hear what you're saying, but my point is, if you think in your head, I'm not going to get pulled over. Hopefully, I won't get in an accident. I just won't pay this month because I really need to feed myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But there are other people who are just assholes and don't get it at all.
They just don't want to.
Right.
Yeah. When you're getting in trouble for not paying millions in taxes.
Yeah, that's different.
You've got some serious money.
Yeah. Right.
Or you should.
What's interesting is the reason they haven't lost the farm yet, because they also stopped paying property taxes. Members of the community were paying on their behalf.
Oh.
Well, then they must be giving some kind of good services or being
they have a
nice neighbors.
Nice honey store.
Be the change you want. But no, they're probably just a beloved local shop, and
maybe they have this like bee worshipping community. It's like the Wicker Man.
Bees.
They're
now,
atheists.
Well, you know what? Hey, bees are good for the environment, so
bees
good
get
job.
degrees.
What they missed in their probably by spending more time with the bees and working with the honey than reading the Bible is they missed where Jesus said, "Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's," when he was explicitly asked about should we pay our taxes to the government.
Yeah, take that. We're going to use your Bible against you.
But the devil can quote scriptures for his own purposes.
I know, it's never ending.
Well, we're the devil. I don't know.
Well, the Metroplex atheists hung 66 signs reading "In No God We Trust" from lampposts around Fort Worth, Texas, leading up to a July 14 event that they hosted. Within a few days, 4 of the banners had been sliced.
Of course.
Like literally knife into it, cutting straight down.
Oh, no. Were we surprised? I'm not.
Come on, Fort Worth.
In fact, they had printed extra knowing this was going to happen.
Oh my God, it's like Roadhouse. He just has extra tires in his trunk.
Yep. They cackle gleefully as they put a new poster up.
Roadhouse.
So Fort Worth Mayor Betsy Price did actually respond to this on Twitter, because politics happens on Twitter.
Now it does.
She wrote, "I was appalled when I saw the banners currently being displayed downtown, as I do not support or agree with the message." That was the start.
Okay.
"We must respect freedom of speech. As we approach the 4th of July, we must remember that many Americans have fought and died for the freedoms we cherish today." So she did not criticize the vandalism. She criticized the message that was vandalized.
Yeah. Fort Worth is trash.
I mean,
no offense.
Are we surprised? No.
No, we would expect the same thing here.
Right.
Here, we would expect, you put up 100 posters, 8 of them would get sliced or vandalized or something. I mean, there's going to be a percentage. Yeah. Because there'll always be that one person walking down the street is like, oh, fuck those guys.
Now, I would expect better from Mayor Beater.
That's not
much better, but I would expect better.
No, you would expect better from Beater. But
I'm sure he would have a little bit better for Beater, but I don't really particularly care for Beater at this moment.
You don't have to necessarily love the guy to recognize that he would probably stand up for
Did he stand up for the lights at the Capitol?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then, yeah, maybe.
He did, actually.
Okay, then. Yeah.
He just won't get off his trolley.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. He also, I guess my whole thing is that, like, I don't really care for the fact that he decided to do a letter of recommendation or a character letter for a known pedophile.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was bad.
That was bad.
That's very bad.
The Catholic priest that got busted for infant and toddler death gay porn.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, he was fucked up. Peter's like, oh, well, he was my priest growing up and he was great.
Yeah,
like,
he
well,
wrote
that
a
doesn't
character
matter.
letter.
He barely fucked me.
Barely.
Paige Chopin is complaining about a Spider-Man statue in front of the Lincoln Children's Zoo in Lincoln, Nebraska. She says that it resembles devil horns.
What?
And, quote, you understand that devil worshipping is anti-Christian and not a religion of its own. You have to be against the church in order to hold these evil beliefs. It's a hate crime against the church.
Wait.
Okay, why is it? Does anybody know why there's a Spider-Man statue?
Spider-Man doesn't have horns.
There's
There's a
web shooters.
Okay,
he puts his fingers together.
Oh, so they're saying that's the satanic?
The statue is literally
It's the
the
I
two
love you.
hands. Is the two hands put together. The guy went back and later put web to make it even more clear that this was Spider-Man.
Right.
But this lady saw somebody two horned hands. It's like, this is anti-Christian. It's like,
What the
well,
fuck?
for one, it was a religious organization that put up the statues.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they put up statues all over the city. I think that they had a superhero theme.
Campus. It's the
they're gonna
organization is Campus Life and Youth for Christ Lincoln.
They're going to sell the statues at the end of this time period to raise money for this group.
Oh.
Let's buy it for the show.
Yeah.
And support their ministry? I don't think so.
Shit.
Just
3D print our own Spider-Man.
So this
Spider-Man.
but also the city said, no, we aren't going to ask this Christian group to remove the statue that's on private property.
Mm-hmm.
they're like, this ain't us.
I know,
It's
but that lady
sacrilegious
is
to the
probably
memory
like
of our
writing
enemy.
letters and calling in every day and being like, no, you have to do something.
I was walking my dog and the statue is still there. While suffering from diverticulitis.
That's an inside joke.
That's an
guys.
inside joke that you guys don't get.
I don't give a shit.
You don't, because people with diverticulitis typically have very painful.
Oh, all right. Well, let's take another break and then we have a discussion.
You've been listening to the Atheist Nomads.
So,
Please hire him.
harm reduction is a topic that I don't think gets enough attention. The basic concept of it is essentially don't let perfect be the enemy of good. So if you can reduce risk or if you can reduce harm that is actively happening, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. And I think it's a model that should be used a lot more in legislation and in even just people figuring out how to live their lives.
Yeah, in your own personal life. I can see a lot of people kind of ruining the super miserable, ruining their lives because they're trying to get a project done on a certain time or to a certain standard at work or school. And it's like, just chill. Just chill. Good is better than...
Yeah. So a great example on this would be if you want to avoid sexually transmitted infections and pregnancy, the only perfect way to do that, and by perfect, I mean absolutely no chance of it happening, is celibacy.
Right.
Which is what abstinence-only sex ed pushes for. They push for perfect.
That is definitely not good.
It is not realistic.
Yeah, exactly. It's not realistic.
So if your goal is to reduce harm by cutting down on rates of sexually transmitted infections and cut down on rates of unplanned pregnancies, comprehensive sex ed is the best way to do that.
Let's talk about how you have ownership over your body and then
I am
ways to
master
protect
of my
it.
own vagina.
If you want to.
Another example of it going wrong is San Francisco right now they're in the process of implementing a ban on the sale of electronic cigarettes in the city. Not cigarettes, electronic cigarettes. So people who have already reduced their harm by not literally inhaling products of combustion if they need a nicotine fix, the best option available to them in San Francisco will be the cancer sticks.
Well, isn't it though, because they've seen a rise in kids smoking?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because like if I was a kid,
what they haven't shown is that the drop in cigarette uses among the youth is huge.
Huh.
Yeah.
So, again, harm reduction.
Because
Not
right,
if you
but they just don't want to
Fruit
see
Loops
that.
as a kid, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, hell
Sometimes
yeah.
I actually look at it and I'm like, that really smells good, that mango thing. And then I'm like, right, no lung cancer.
You're like, no. I need to go get a Mike's Hard. And,
so why has an Axe body spray gotten in
No,
on the
I
vape
don't
market?
drink either.
And-
I don't have any fun anymore.
And so vaping,
drinking does not equal fun.
the risks of vaping are mostly cardiac and some
Being made
pulmonary.
fun of.
Yeah,
It's
so,
not lung cancer. It's
right.
increased chance of getting pneumonia.
Uh-huh.
And people like me thinking you're lame.
Yeah. Those are the real risks of it.
It's
not
the bullying.
Can your ego take it?
Can you take the bullying? But if you're talking about cardiac, then I have this middle pooch here that already tells me that I am at risk for heart disease. So why add on to
Why
that?
add on to that?
Yeah, but is that what kind
you-
of pen is that though? Yeah.
The fun kind.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fun pens.
But
do a
some
pen.
of the
No, I showed it to her.
but also some of those risks are similar to some of the risks with coffee. Caffeine and nicotine are both stimulants. Stimulants
are
are
you just
bad
saying
for the
this
heart.
because you vape?
I vape. Yes, I got off of cigarettes by switching to vaping,
Yeah,
and
I
I
forgot that you
reduced
vaped.
harm.
Yeah.
What flavor? What's your flavor?
I have a blueberry cheesecake right now that I'm vaping.
Fucking
You know-
Blueberry
Fruit Loops.
cheesecake, Arnold Palmer in the summertime sometimes, and then
Not since I started mixing it myself.
oh yeah, and then your blackberry dragon fruit.
Yeah,
The black
I mean,
dragon.
do you really taste a difference?
yeah.
I can smell the difference, so
Yeah,
I know
I mean,
he can taste it.
Yeah, the smelling, the difference. The thing that bothers me, both with smoking and vaping, is when I'm standing there and people just blow it in your face.
Right, those are
Like with
assholes.
disregard for the person just standing and trying to have a conversation with you.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
see.
it's not
Me off.
smoke, so don't worry
Right.
about it.
It's just a strawberry fog.
Yeah.
And it's just a gentle
What pisses me off
mist
is when
of-
people drop their cigarette butts. So I'd rather have them carry that shit around in their pocket than
And it's
Yeah, absolutely.
so
I mean,
assholes are going to be assholes.
yeah.
That's
true.
an unfortunate thing.
I
and
did just blow fun smoke in someone's face on accident though yesterday. I was like, "Whoops, sorry."
but what?
blueberry
Yeah.
cheesecake.
So with a lot of this now is being focused on kids are vaping. That's terrifying, and everybody who vapes agrees that it's bad for kids to vape because how people who are already addicted to nicotine get their nicotine fix is good,
Right.
but you don't want new people getting addicted to nicotine.
Right.
It is a highly addictive chemical.
Well, I mean, isn't it fun and easy? You get this small little thing called a Juul, and it lights up, and there's different flavors, and
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my best friend had one of those, and I was like, I've never been a smoker, but like, I kind of like that little Juul head rush.
I know exactly. So that's the whole thing, because it feels like, I mean, if anybody's done hookah, it's the same.
I have,
I
but it's
haven't.
the
and
same
it was
thing.
raspberry flavored.
Yeah. It's just like, it's just tobacco that's flavored, and then you get a total head rush from it, and you're sitting around. And I like it, and that's why I won't do a Juul, because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get addicted to this.
Like I only do this if like a Middle Eastern guy comes over and puts like a hot rock
But
on
so,
and then put some hashish in.
but the part that isn't that gets missed out in the reporting on it is while the rate of kids vaping is increasing, the rate of kids smoking is decreasing. And effectively, the same amount of teenagers are getting nicotine addictions as have for the last 40 years. It's a lower rate than the 500 years prior, but it's
Right.
about the same rate because as it turns out, most people start smoking when they're teenagers,
Yeah.
not in their 20s, definitely not in their 30s. Most people pick up their bad habits when they're young and dumb.
Right. Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's probably about money.
Here's the tea.
Here's the tea that I will spill. No, it's probably
That-
mostly about money.
It's the only
And
reason I
it's-
can think of for San Francisco to ban.
Yeah.
vape.
There's some lobbyist who says, hey, if you do this, we'll give X amount of dollars. And they're like, yeah, that sounds good.
We're worried
that's
about
how a lot of
vaping.
things get.
You should ban this stuff. It's like, but won't they just turn around and start buying your cigarette product instead?
Exactly.
Oh, well, you're not going to ban cigarettes.
Here's the conspiracy theory. It's just big tobacco being like, fuck you, vape.
That's exact.
They get to satisfy three groups. They get to satisfy big tobacco. They get to satisfy pharmaceutical companies that don't want competition on their nicotine replacement therapies. Mm-hmm. And they get to satisfy anti-smoking activists who want perfection. And perfection is complete abstinence from nicotine.
Yeah. Well, I don't like smoking. I actually was talking to someone about this the other day. I don't like smoking. I've never picked it up because I watched my grandma die. And then there was just like a large percentage of my mother's family who had died from smoking issues, emphysema and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, I've seen this. I don't want to be like this. I don't want to be in my 50s and die from this thing. Then I know I would because it runs in my family. So it probably will happen or would happen. But that doesn't mean that I'm like, everybody's bad who smokes.
Yep.
Because guess what? That's your choice. I do a lot of other things that people think are bad for me.
Mm-hmm. I do think that.
But we are in 2019 where if you do something that somebody doesn't like, or you have a single opinion that somebody disagrees with, you are not perfect. Therefore, you are the enemy.
This kind of sounds like atheists sometimes.
Yep.
I just got to throw that out there.
You see it in
every group.
In every single echo chamber on the internet and the members of those echo chambers. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love my echo chamber.
My echo chamber is all about loving dogs.
Yeah. My echo chamber is in a white room by myself, padded.
I'll pet you.
Just kidding.
So the other area I want to hit on with harm reduction is, and this is related to the kids in cages. Mm-hmm. We have a refugee crisis on the southern border. That is true.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
It is a crisis when you have a lot of people who are not safe in their home country, especially when it's multiple countries. That is a crisis. And it is something the U.S. could fix because we created the crisis.
Okay, just because we created it doesn't mean we can just go fix it.
Right, we can't just fix it.
The damage has been done.
We could work with the countries to, for one, end the war on drugs and admit that we failed.
Oh, that's funny. That's rich. I don't think we've ever said that we've ever failed. We'd just be like, oh, it's not getting any better. Now we're going to pull out now. See ya. Bye.
And it won't be easy to fix it because just like how Prohibition created organized crime in the U.S.
But they also created cocktails.
Ending Prohibition didn't eliminate the mob.
It just created more mob.
They changed
the mob.
Well, and realistically, the mob, they're smugglers. The cartels are smugglers. Mm-hmm. The sex traffickers are smugglers.
I'd like to say bootleggers, but
smugglers have always been around.
Right.
Smugglers are the reason why the U.S. declared independence. One of the big reasons.
And why Han Solo was such an anti-hero.
Yeah. Smugglers have always been a thing because if there is demand and there is government pressure making it difficult to satisfy that demand, unscrupulous people will fill that need.
Jewels will go on the black market in San Francisco.
That is actually true.
It is true.
That's true. Yeah.
And that is so San Francisco.
Hey, kid, you want some vape?
Hey, kid, I've got all these jewels here.
Jewel smuggling.
But I'm sorry, you were talking about kids in cages, and I just brought it back to jewels. So it's
all connected.
Thing. But it is.
We got to start smuggling those kids.
And so the more things you prohibit, the more pressure there is for the black market, for smugglers, the cartels, the mafia, everybody to...
You can't just make everything legal, though.
You can't. No.
Then it would just be free-for-all.
And people have no morals when they're just
Here's what we do. We start a cartel to get those kids the fuck out of there.
Well, there's a couple European countries that have handled this very well.
That was a Jason idea.
Vigilante cartel.
Yeah. we're not making money, but we're sure as fuck getting these kids out.
They decriminalized all drug possession and use and decided
Amsterdam?
that... What?
Netherlands.
Portugal was one that did this first.
Oh, Amsterdam did it too.
Portugal's cool.
Amsterdam
So not
just
one of the
stopped
shithole
prosecuting.
countries, but one of the countries that we want people to come from. Maybe we should look at them and take their advice.
They stopped they didn't stop prohibition. They stopped criminalization of possession. They still are prosecuting distribution and sale.
They're like those guys that crashed their plane.
Right.
Oh my
But
idiots.
they aren't.
They were dumb.
They aren't. So they're treating drug addiction as a medical issue, not a criminal issue.
Well, here's the flaw in that whole thing. For here, we have a crisis in mental health issues and mental health help here,
And medical issues.
Yes, and medical issues here in the United States. So being like, okay, now we're gonna.
You need to do a GoFundMe campaign to pay for your methadone.
And so, like, what they saw when they made that change was within a few years, opiate overdose deaths dropped drastically.
We're having a hard enough time here in Idaho to be like, hey, marijuana would be a good solution to this opioid crisis. And we have a government who's like, fuck no. No, you'll be running around all jazzed up on the jazz cigarettes. No.
The devil's lettuce.
We can't have you being lazy and eating Cheetos.
You do that anyway, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. I don't need marijuana. Actually, marijuana makes me eat healthier. Or not eat at all. So,
if you look at it, the war on drugs has increased addiction rates. It has increased the amount of violent crime.
All according to plan,
It has destroyed numerous Central American countries.
Right.
It has created a refugee crisis.
Yeah.
Therefore, the approach to harm reduction would be pull out of the war on drugs.
Right. But we all do know that people are profiting off that whole thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
People higher than us. Here's another conspiracy theory. Here's how it's
generations of people have been.
It's not a conspiracy theory. It's people are actually profiting off of. Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
People who are addicted, people who are killing other people who are.
Idaho. One of the reasons why Idaho won't legalize marijuana is we have higher drug incarceration rates. Despite lower drug use rates,
right?
Because we have private corporations running prisons.
Yeah, we do. We have big. Oh, what do we call it? Big prison. I don't know.
Big prison. Yeah.
What is it? The industrial prison or the
industrial
prison complex or something like that? Something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Harm reduction. It's a good thing. We've got some feedback from Andreas via the website, commenting from Germany about your ideas about where the name German comes from. It's not from French. The French word for German is Allemand, which is derived from a Germanic tribe called the Alemanni.
Did this comment come in right now?
Sometimes you feel like an
just
Allemand.
now?
Sometimes you don't.
The term German goes back to the Romans, who used it to refer to people speaking Germanic languages who lived to the north of their empire. The Romans didn't know the full extent, but as those people settled northern Germany, a huge chunk of the coast of the Baltic, and southern Scandinavia,
this guy should write a book.
Germani was an umbrella term that lumped a whole bunch of distinct tribes, a lot of them with distinct customs, and probably languages into one. Caesar probably did this to make his victory over them appear more glorious than it was. The French language does not know the term Germans, but that refers to the entirety of those ancient tribes, not modern-day Germans. In case you're interested, the German word Deutsch stems back to an old Germanic word Theodisk, meaning of the people, with language as in not that of the clergy, which was Latin. When the English started to use the word Dutch, the people of the Netherlands, to which that is now applied, still refer to themselves as Duits, which is essentially just a different pronunciation of Deutsch, because they continued themselves to be part of the wider German culture and considered their language to be a dialect of German. That changed in the late 17th to 18th century when they started to refer to themselves in their language as Netherlands, meaning of the lowlands. English speakers just didn't get the memo and kept referring to the Dutch and their language by a name the Dutch stopped using centuries ago, and to the Germans and their language by a name Germans never actually used. Modern-day Germany is just a tiny fraction of the impact of the ancient Germanic had on the modern world. Sorry for dropping that rant on you, but that kind of hit a nerve. The name Germans is about as appropriate as the names Eskimo and Sioux are, and given how viciously I occasionally get language policed to call these people Inuit and Dakota when my country and its language are hardly ever referred to by their proper names in foreign languages, I am a bit frustrated by this.
Okay, thank you for very thorough information.
And then from Beatrice, the Spanish word for Germans is Alemans, and the country is Alemania. Much like the French word, many Spanish-speaking people in the U.S. are baffled by the word German and quickly learn that Alemani were a tribe. I wonder if anyone was going to catch that, or catch the boo-boo.
Well, they did.
It is peculiar how we in the U.S. refer to people from other countries and their languages strangely, such as the Dutch referring to themselves as Netherlanders, but we insist on calling them Dutch. There are many other examples, but I think it would be beating a dead horse. Thanks for giving us a small education, Andreas.
Isn't it weird how little Americans are taught about other
exactly
races?
I mean, Oregon just had to pass a law to say everybody's required to hear about the Holocaust.
Wow.
That is a law on their books now.
Wow.
Yep.
Even those homeschool kids out in the...
Yep.
Okay, so...
Has to be in the curriculum.
The error that I made was I was asked where the term German came from, and I said it came over
French.
From the Normans who spoke French. Mm-hmm. I was coalescing way too much information into a simple answer with a very complicated topic because...
As we just heard.
It is a very complicated topic. The Norman French used priests who used Latin as the clerics in the court, which is where the term cleric and why cleric and clerk are so similar in English. And they did a lot of the interacting between countries, and Germany quickly became a term used in England to describe what was the Holy Roman Empire.
This all seems like a dusting off the degree.
Oh yeah, this is right up his alley.
Yeah,
yeah. History and language, geography, and
it is incredibly complicated. And if you look at the different terms for Germany, there are the Germanic ones that are related to Deutsch in some way. There are countries that use German from Latin and Greek. There are countries who use Alemani, and then there are countries who use Saxon, and then there's an old Slavic term that gets used as well. It's all over the place.
Mm-hmm. Just like everything.
And while I agree that I can understand how that's frustrating, and it would be nice if everybody used closer to the local term for things.
Right.
But in the case of the Federal Republic of Germany, it would help if they, in their own usage of the term, called it Deutschland.
We should just ask, what do you want to be called?
Well, it's like Japan calls themselves Nihon, not Japan.
Yeah.
China. I mean, everybody's got their own language term for their home country, and we just can't do it.
Right.
There's too many.
Right.
We also got an email from Eileen. No Lake Erie or Lake Ontario here in the Mitten State. It's Lake Huron to the east. So I checked the map, and starting from the...
And he wants to yell, wrong, 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 wrong.
I don't know what lakes I named off. I know I forgot about Huron.
Well, I know.
So I did
everybody
screw
forgets
up.
about Huron.
Right. I think I just said, what's the Great Lakes? And I knew there was Superior, and that's it.
So if you start from the southeastern corner of Michigan, you have Lake Erie.
Yeah.
And then once you get to north of Detroit, you have Lake Huron. And then you've got Lake Superior above the Upper Peninsula, and then you have Lake Michigan on the other side.
And we're saying the Mitten State is what?
Michigan.
Okay.
Because
it's shaped like a mitten.
It's shaped like a mitten, if you forget about the Upper Peninsula.
So I think I used to remember that when we'd have to fill out like what states on that map, like how many states can you name without having to look it up.
Yep.
And that was the way of knowing that. But since I've gotten to be 35 and I don't know anything about the middle.
I think I only know Lake Erie because of Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Oh,
right. Didn't they live in Erie, Indiana?
I think, yeah.
Right?
Maybe.
Am I making that up?
I don't know.
I'm old too.
It's okay. We'll look it up, listeners. You don't have to write in.
No, like Erie, Indiana.
You know what? We've been begging for feedback.
Dang it.
So.
I know.
Yeah,
so there has been the beg for feedback, but also...
And Indiana doesn't actually have Lake Erie.
Yeah, Erie, Indiana is unrelated.
Yeah.
But like Erie, the word Erie.
Yeah.
I just like the thought of spooky.
You know.
Lake Erie, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Titicaca. And the Dead Sea. I think that's the 5.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
We got it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We all get it.
Okay, you can send hate mail to
Aaron.
Jason at...
I actually have a hate mail address. You can send stuff to ihatejasonward@gmail.com.
From Chris via Facebook, you discussed the dress code in French municipal swimming pools. Can I give a little context to this?
Yes, tell us about the piscine.
I live in the UK and work as a coach driver and have been taking school trips to France since the late 70s. A lot of these trips have included visits to municipal swimming pools and or water parks. They have always had a policy that males and females must wear fitted one-piece swimsuits. This, I believe, is done on hygiene grounds. Swimming shorts for males or the wearing of t-shirts over swimming costumes for females are strictly banned. Everyone must shower before entering the pool area, and this is rigorously enforced. The banning of the burkini is just an extension of this ban and is not done on religious grounds, although the religious seem to want to use religion as an excuse to flaunt it. It also seems that in the last 25 years or so, women have taken the one-piece swimming costume to include just bikini bottoms, so the sight of topless women and girls is now fairly common. Most people also have women or women and children only sessions, but these seem to be on midweek evenings only. France wants to keep it secularity, and it's not afraid to upset religious sensibilities to do so.
Right. Well, one, it's their choice to go. It's their choice, as far as I know, to go. I think that's what we were saying last week. It's their choice to go to a pool with topless women. Mm-hmm. We're not saying that like, I don't believe they're asking for women to be covered up.
No, they were just asking to be able to wear bikinis.
Yes,
to the
exactly.
pool.
And I believe they're fitted as well.
They're
not loose.
They are loose fitting, but they are fitted.
Right. And I'm sure they shower before they get in.
They follow the other rules. Yeah.
And that's it. I feel like, just let them cool off in the heat. They're going by the rules.
Especially during heat waves. It's just,
come on.
You got to let people gather at water.
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
All right. And we will not be talking about bikinis again for a while.
We will not.
And from SoJo via Patreon, greetings from the Space Coast.
So cool.
Which we also said horrible things about. Well, we didn't say horrible things about it, just that it's Florida. Why would you want to live there?
Yes, exactly. That's right.
And we have a patron there.
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for supporting us.
And living in the coolest part of Florida.
Yeah.
Because that's cool.
Right.
It makes me want to watch Space Ghost Coast to Coast, even though that's not related. Come on, Apollo, 50th anniversary. Get with the program.
Get with it.
That was Houston. I'm tired. Houston.
We do not have any new patrons, but if you want to support the show, you can find out how at atheistnomads.com/donate.
Is this because of me? Is it because I'm so contentious?
Bring it around to you
again.
Always.
And
go to BoiseCorgieFest.org.
Oh, yes. We haven't gotten you yet, Lauren.
I know.
So, Liz, thank you for joining us. Do you have anything to plug?
I start a new job tomorrow. That's it.
Yay!
Awesome.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Yay.
And Jason, what do you have to plug?
I am featuring at Liquid Laughs August 15th through 18th. So
all right.
Come on down for a moderately good time.
And Aaron?
I will be on a show August 9th. I think that's a Friday at the Lounge at the End of the Universe here in Boise. And then I will also be at Liquid Laughs hosting. What dates are those? August 15th.
August 15th through 18th.
Through the 18th. It's going to be
8 o'clock show every night. 10:15s on Fridays and Saturdays.
It's going to be pretty okay.
Become an Atheist Nomads Patreon to get in free.
I don't think Liquid's going to like that.
We'll figure it out.
I can do what I want.
You can, right. If people do that, it'll make Liquid laugh.
Yeah. Yeah, but we do have options.
Dustin will be doing guest spots all week long.
Don't we have options to
He'll be in the
to get
section.
people onto a list?
Yeah, which is what I was referring
Yes,
to.
exactly. So,
and Lauren.
Boise Corgi Fest is August 17th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. We are going to have a Corgi parade, Corgi costume contest. We are going to have the Corgi Derby again this year. And we have lots of vendors, and we need money. So go to www.boisecorgifest.org and hit up our shop link and buy shirts and doggy bandanas.
Come on
or
down.
Just donate money.
For the Corgi Rodeo.
Next year, Jason.
We're gonna
Next year.
rope and hog tie corgis.
Actually, there's a very... God damn, dude. I don't think you could hog tie a corgi.
I mean,
I know,
you probably
Their
could.
legs are too short.
The little T-Rex legs.
They can't get the two together.
All right.
Actually, I know they can
We'll
because
corgi tie them, and all that means is that we'll put our arms around them.
there is a common costume though where you can buy a little rodeo buckaroo guy to
I've
strap
seen
onto
that.
him, and
So cute.
it's pretty
All right.
hilarious.
I like that.
Yep.
All right, and listeners, remember, not all those who wander are lost. Thank you for listening to another episode of Atheist Nomads. You can find show notes and contact information at atheistnomads.com. Follow us on Twitter at Atheist Nomads, and like us on Facebook at facebook.com/atheistnomads. Please subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or your podcatcher of choice, and while you're there, feel free to leave us a review. Theme music is courtesy of Sturdy Fred. Until next time, this has been the Atheist Nomads.
Good job, Dustin. With
We
your
bullied Liz, though.
We really did.
just be on it.
I don't think she could sit there and be quiet.
I mean, in the best possible
In the
way.
best
she's
way,
saying that.
she's snarky, mouthy.
I mean, in the best possible way.
yeah, that's good.
And it would definitely help if I'm actually recording her. So you are now actually being
Jesus
recorded.
Christ, Dustin.
Okay, so I just discovered I also wasn't recording Jason.
Ah, for fuck's
Oh
sake.
my gosh.
Page.
You got errand.
Page shopping. Page shop. Page.
There.
Page shop. Fuck you, Jason.